Going to the calculator. Those with, let me clear this too. With an 84, 83 family, go ahead and get it out. Anyone have a scientific calculator? And that's okay. Scientific, just not a grapher. Where's your calculator, sir? Oh man, you better get one. You have one. Okay, is it a graph 84? Okay. Here's the problem with this. You don't need to know about this right now, but you kind of do. There's two ways to express an angle measure. What? One is degrees. Like this is 30 degrees, right? Isn't that about 30 degrees? It'd be about that big, right? If I put a protractor on there and measured it. But then there's also something called radians. An angle measure, you don't have to know this. We may get to this later in the year. 30 radians is actually a whole bunch of rotations, not the same as 30 degrees. All right. And you need to know that there's two different ways to express an angle measure. And all of us, since you were saying we have an 84 or an 83, we all have to hit the mode button. See, the default on your calculator, I bet you the majority of you, radians is covered, right? How many people have radians as the mode button? Nobody? Should be like the majority. So I'll show you. Watch this. I'm going to do this to you too, and remember that I say this, but I'll warn you again during the test, and I should do this more often. Hold on, second quit. Second mem 712. You've had teachers do this before. Reset your calculator because students could put stuff on there that shouldn't be on there, kind of thing. Look at my calculator when I go to mode. The default seems to be radians, and it throws it back to radians. So it's your job to understand that there is this radian thing, whatever it is, and I need to tell my calculator I'm dealing with degree measures, not radian measures. Now, that's why I asked if you have a scientific calculator. They usually have it when you turn it on. It usually says DEG or RAD, and there's a DRG button that toggles and changes that, and you need to be in DEG, which is degrees. Okay, so it's a big thing before we continue, and I'm going to expect you that you do that so that when I come around and ask you questions, you know, you get the right answer because your calculator's in the right mode. Okay, so now starting with alphabet, Ethan over there. No, this isn't the two Ethans. When we're all together, we got the two Ethans together. What would I do to both sides in order to solve for this now? I got to get x by itself. All right, and then this is where it goes. Sure, we're going to multiply by 29, and now we can talk about the calculator and how we get our answer. Go ahead and, you don't have a calculator. First student I choose didn't bring their calculator today. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, let's help them out. Type. It's 29 times. Don't do sine 33 times 29. 29 goes out on the outside, and then you sign an angle measure. So that's why you always want that multiplier to the left of that sign. What do we get? Can someone share out? And then we'll look. Well, I guess I could type it too. So I'm in degrees. Second quit. What was it? 29? Is it 29? Sine. Sign's right there. What was it? 33? Wow, I remembered. And I don't have to put a degree mark on there. The calculator's already in degrees. All right, I shouldn't have to do this, but I will. I'm sorry. Rounding. I was about to say simplify and reduce. I meant rounding. 7 is in the 10th position. This makes me sad how many students get this wrong when they ask you to round in a spot. 9 is in the tenth hundredths. 4 is in the thousandths, and so on and so on and so forth. Rounding this to the 10th, it's 15.8. Rounding it to the 100th, it's 15.79. Okay, so hopefully we understand that. So rounding to the 10th that asked me to do, this is 15.8. Here's one more thing. Students don't have a big grasp, or students that don't have a big grasp of this. When I ask you to label this, what's the label on it? Yes. Oh no! What did we actually find? We found a length of a what? Side. So that's the problem. Now the problem is I don't have a unit up there. I don't have inches, feet, or miles, and I should. So what's U stand for? Unit. Some unit. All right, not degree. And I'm going to ask for labels. So hopefully in the test, I'm going to put inches, feet, miles on the sides, and then your answer must have that same label. All right, not going to go through our thought process on this. We already did this one. I just want to talk about solving for it. Matt, did you watch that video? Get tricky with it. Okay, what would I type on my calculator? I bet you know. Ooh, okay. So let's do this. What would I do to both sides to free that x on the bottom? I'd multiply both sides by x. Then the next thing, what would I do, Matt, in order to get x by itself? Divide by tan 24. In the Get Triggy With It video, they sung that you just switch the x and the tan 24 when x is on the bottom. We're going to watch that again, and then you'll see that, and I'll show that little switcheroo there. But that's really what you do. You can multiply both sides by x and then divide by tan 24. All right. And what do we get for that? What was it? 12? 12? 12? 12? 12 divided by 10. 24? Wow. I know that doesn't seem like a big deal, but I'm surprised I remember. Oh no, Matt, round to the 10th. What do you end up getting? There you go. That 26.95, that 5 moves that 9 to a 0 and bumps that 6 to a 7. So it's be 27.0. What do I put as a label on there, Matt, just to keep bothering you? You. All right. And then let's finish off this chart here with who do we got back there? Sorry, Gracie. Okay. So I guess we'll fill out the chart, but then from here on out, I'll show you how you mark your drawings. What sides are given? Or what sides do I have listed here compared to this angle that I have? Okay, so this is the hypotenuse, and then what's M? I was going to put an H there, so I'll put it down here. That's what this chart says. I have the hypotenuse, and who else? Okay, remember what this side is. What side is this? All the way over there, which is what I don't have. What side's always across the angle? So I don't have the opposite. What's left over? This is what Danny Samuelis had to do back in high school as well. What's the last side? Adjacent. Okay, so I have the opposite and the adjacent. Which one is that? SOCA or TOA? Which one has A and H in it? SOCA or TOA? Which one is it? I'll write them down here. Which one has the letters that I'm dealing with here? What's that? A and H. Which one of those three have A and H in it? Okay, so that's Ka. What does the C stand for? Which trig function? Cosine. Okay, so I'm dealing with cosine. Next thing is, Ryan, what's the setup? So I got cosine. How do I set this up? Who do I cosine? Okay, this is what your job was like when we were watching the video, like where the parts go. So cosine, what do we always cosine? The what? Not the x. Okay, there is no x in there anyway. There's an m. You always cosine the angle. So need you to get going here. Cosine of who then is the setup of this question? 44. And then what does that equal? Remember, AH, that's the order of the fraction, numerator, denominator. So that's what the AH stands for. So what over what? Hannah, help me out here. What letter over or what over what? We'll go back to you, Ryan. Make sure we get this. Go ahead. M over 37. Okay, now back to you, Ryan. How do I solve for this now? How do I get M by itself? You don't even need to know about trig to know how to get M by itself. What do I do to both sides? Multiply by 37. So this becomes 37 cosine 44. All right, and that's what you type on your calculator. And then Hannah, just to finish that off, what'd you get for an answer? And is that rounded correctly, everyone? 26.6? Hannah, what do I put as a label on this? Just units, because you found a side measure. All right. Okay, now we're not filling out a chart. It's just a nice thought process that I didn't get to show you on Wednesday anyway because of time. Here's what we're going to do. And I'm not going to do all 6 of these that are in the notes here, but I'm going to pick like 2 or 3 of them as we move around the room. So, David, here's what you really do. If you're given a question like this, you do step 1 and label the sides. What sides do you see here given or as an unknown as well? And that's what you do. You put O and H there. Which trig function is it? Okay, so at the top, pretend this is a test. So, katoa, that's the first thing you write. My pen's going in and out as always, right? And then you access that or look at that in order to pick the right trig functions. So this is a so. David, go ahead and set up the equation then correctly. Never knows, better watch because you're coming up and it better go faster here. No sinners in a public school. It's sine. Oh boy. Sine. And then let's move on to Genevieve. How do I solve that one? I just showed you that like in 2 examples ago. What would be what I would type on my calculator when x is on the bottom? Nice. Yep, you sine an angle measure. Okay, so that's why that is what you would type. In the Get Tricky with a video, you'll see when we show it again, they switch them. Okay, those just switch when the variable's on the bottom. Or multiply both sides by x. And then to get x by itself, you got to turn around and divide by sine 24, the whole chunk. It all comes together. Okay, what do we get for an answer there? Anyone? 9.8, wait. 9.8? Okay, that seemed small. And then units. Yeah. Let's see if we can get okay, we'll do this one. All right, and then one more time, Jad. What side are you looking at? What's that? No, what sides do we have? Which is adjacent? Okay, which one is that? SOCA or TOA? What does that mean? Which trig function? Cosine. Who do you cosine? Oh, you always cosine the angle, which is 55. And then that equals what? What over what? Moving on. Cecilia, what would I type on my calculator to solve this? Good. This is switch them or multiply both sides by x, then divide. And then what do you get when you do that? You got your calculator out there. That's my calculator. All right. Just to make sure that we can get those answers. Say it again. 20.9. Do we have a verification on that? And then units. Won't ask them that again. I will ask you to label. I'll try to remember on the test to put inches, feet, miles, and then you must label for like a half point because I do have too many people that put degrees, and it does happen. And then just one more of this section. How are we at? Miranda, which sides do you see? Okay, then what does that mean, SOCA or TOA? That means which trig function? Yeah, just say tan. It's actually tangent, but I'm just going to say, I always say sine for sin, but then cosine, cos, and then tan is tangent, but we'll just say tan. Who do you tan? And then that equals what over what? TOA. First, second. So first is up, second is down. That's the order of the thing. All right, and then this one you multiply both sides by 16. So I'll ask something different of other. Whoa, pen does that sometimes. Class, what's the final answer? I know a lot of people are typing. 13.4. Last hour I asked class, what's the answer? Everyone just looked at me like they wanted to kill me. And nobody answered a dang thing. Arr! Second hour. Good, listen to this video. Yes, I just yelled at you. Okay, now here's a different section. And notice the difference in these. The difference is, where is the X or the unknown? Where's it at? It's in the angle, right? And this was in the Get Triggy video with it, Get Triggy with it. And I'll show that again at the end here. Yes, this is going to go pretty fast. I am going to do 4 of these. This is why I love trig. Trig, once you get it, it's like easy. It's SOHCAHTOA. That'll be something you probably remember the rest of your life, because you do a lot of trig in math. Okay, so we're at Evan. Don't panic, but just still label your sides. So what are your sides? And then what does that mean? What are you dealing with? SOCA or TOA? Now remember what I said when you set these up. Who goes where? So you're saying we're using tan. Who do you tan? There you go. So this is where X is. Interesting. And then what does that equal? It is 30 over 14 in order. Now you don't know this, but just get ready to type this on your calculator. All right, so you're still able to do this. The pen thing. Okay, 14. In the Get Triggy video, they actually show a question like this, and they already have this way over here. Watch it when we show that video again. There's like a mysterious little space there, because I think they use, what do you call it, slides or whatever to do this, but it doesn't matter. So the problem is I got to get rid of this tangent. That's got to go away. I got to get this all by itself. I got to get X. And the only way you can do that is, hey, by the way, whatever you do to one side, everyone say it. Do to the other. This is what you do to both sides, and this is why I love to Get Triggy with the video. They actually show this. That is the opposite operation of tangent. It's called inverse tan. And what that does is knocks out that tan. It actually cancels that and gets X all by itself. But whatever I do to one side, you do to the other. So what you do to find angle measures is you access, maybe we'll change that battery, the inverse tan button. And then you inverse tan this ratio to get an angle measure. So here we go. Second, you have to hit the second thing and then tan. Even a regular scientific calculator has a second feature. And then what it does is inverse, it accesses the inverse tan. All right. So, and that's how you find angle measures from sides. And what was it, 30 over 14? Is that correct? 30 divided by 14. And then this is why we need labels. This is the time. Ooh, what does that become when we round to the 10th? 65.0. So this becomes, I don't remember that from the other hour. 65.0. Now we put a degree on that because we tell the teacher we know we found an angle measure now. All right. Okay, so that was Evan. We're up to Lauren. What sides? I'll keep that showing because we can see all this then. What sides are given in that small triangle over there? And then what does that mean I'm dealing with? Yes, and then which trig function? Oh, SOCA or TOA? And don't write ka like in your solving. Ka is like what I'm looking at. Okay, I see this. So it's cosine. And then who do you cosine? Okay, but cosine of what? What do I put in here? And then that equals 13 over 28. And then what are you going to type on your calculator? Now, I get it. Someone asked me, what do I say? Do I call that the opposite of cosine? Or you either call it inverse cosine or cosine to the negative first. Okay? And it's one or the other. I'll accept there. So we'll leave it at that. You inverse cosine, pen going crazy. And then did you do that on your calculator, Lauren? Oh, no. Okay, go ahead. You ready? 62.3. And then what do you put as a label in there? Okay, and I think we're good with that. I'm going to go to 2 more examples. You'll do one of them. Okay, so now there's a mishmash of questions. Mishmash. And then we'll end the video with that. And I know we have 7 minutes, and that's good. I want 3 minutes at the end to show they get tricky with it one more time. Okay, so now you just there could just be a smattering of questions. You got to make the right choice of what trig I use, and then who's the unknown, and where does it go, all that other stuff. So looking at these 2 questions, we'll do them both. Adrian, you'll do one, and then I'll do the other one. We'll pick this one. Question mark. I guess that could be a our variable. All right, but what sides are given compared to that question mark? What does that mean we're dealing with? So means what? Good? Awesome. This is exactly the progression we should go through. Who do you assign? Yeah, I'm going to leave it as the variable. We can make variables anything. Question mark's valid. Awesome. And then what would you have to type on your calculator to get what question mark is? Okay, so understanding when I have to find an angle measure, it's inverse sine. All right, and then going from there. Okay, what's the answer for that? Anyone? Say it one more time. 60.0? 68.0. Boy, we're getting a lot of those rounding fun things. Degrees. All right, and then last but not least. Okay, let's do a group response. In 3, 2, 1. What side is that? Opposite. 3, 2, 1. What side is that? 3, 2, 1. So or toa? So. 3, 2, 1. So means what? Sine. Who do we sine? 3, 2, 1. Equals 3, 2, 1. X over 19. That's fun. Actually, it was awesome. Multiply both sides by 19 and you'll get your answer. Okay, what do we get for a number? We'll write that down for X. 8.9. 8.9 what? Units. If I don't give you units, I'll expect a U. All right? All right, awesome. Okay, we'll end this video and start to get tricky with the